Hello, Helena. I'm Emily McVeigh, Executive Director of the United Way of the Lewis and Clark area. I'm here today with Renee Bauer from Family Promise of Greater Helena, and she's going to tell us about a new project they have coming up for the United Way Partner Spotlight. Hi, Renee.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Seems like you were just here, but there's something new.
We have a really fun project going on. We are going to do program expansion into the Townsend and Broadwater County area. And we're pretty excited about it.
That's great.
It's a fun place.
Yeah, so what's the plan look like? What's the expansion going to be?
We're going to start with our prevention and diversion program. Try to keep folks down there who might be a little bit vulnerable to becoming homeless. We will work with them and try and make sure that they're stabilized, provide some resources to do that. Working within the community, we would ultimately like to locate a shelter place and provide emergency shelter services.
Great. Yeah, we help do the point-in-time survey every year, and so we do count in Broadwater County, and Broadwater's a small community, so they know who needs help and where people are. But what does homelessness really look like in Townsend?
They do. Well, it's kind of interesting because it is a small community, and they're pretty close-knit community. They tend to take care of one another real well. So when you go to Townsend, you won't probably see people living on the streets like we can occasionally see here in Helena. They tend to try to keep one another sheltered. There are currently approximately 14 families in the area that are homeless, and 30 kids who are considered homeless.
That's a lot for Townsend.
It is a lot. It's numbers are staggering. We never like hearing that. And with our organization, of course, our main focus is those children. Keep them safely sheltered.
Yeah. Well, and it's same when we do the point-in-time survey in Helena or any community, we really don't get to count those school kids who are homeless because they're couch surfing or they're staying with family members, and those don't meet the HUD criteria, the HUD definition of homeless. So when those numbers come out, that's not a number we really see or know until we know that it's out there. And we really, like you said, you're working with the school districts. We work with the school districts to get those numbers because we know there's so many more kids and families out there struggling,
right.
Or who are unstably housed.
I think it's interesting because we all work with the school districts and we do depend on them to provide us those numbers. But in Montana, we've got a very significant amount of people who homeschool. And so there's this large portion of the population that is never counted. Mm-hmm. And we really don't know how many of them there are out there. It's one of those fascinating little anomalies when we try to count folks.
Right. Well, and I'm sure, I don't know if Townsend tracks it or not, but during the summer, a lot of our homeless population takes their campers out to the campgrounds, and those are all in their community or their county.
Right.
And so their homeless population really does increase, especially in these warmer months when they can go from campground to campground, which is good, good enough. But, we know that those people need help come fall or, sometimes in the summertime where you shower and all those kinds of things. So definitely Townsend is a community we don't think about often needs help with our homeless population, but it's definitely a present issue. What kinds of things does Townsend already do in their community to address the homeless issue?
So they had, back in March, the community held, I gotta use my cheat sheets here, the community held a kind of a housing symposium, if you would. Broadwater County Development Corporation hosted it, and they brought together all kinds of community leaders and experts to talk about what housing in the community looks like. Townsend is growing very rapidly, faster than they can keep up with at times, and so they have huge housing crunches, much like all of Montana. The cost of housing is skyrocketed, and keeping up with the need just for moderate priced housing in any community has been a struggle in the state of Montana, and so Townsend certainly is right in there with everybody else. We're all seeing the same kind of problems.
Well, they're calling it the Gallatin Corridor or something like that. People from Bozeman and all the communities around Bozeman are moving into Townsend and then just driving to work every day.
Right.
And so it has become a place where the more wealthy people live, where it's traditionally been a cheaper community for people to be in. That is not the case anymore.
No, their housing prices have gone up significantly in the last 12 months. And that puts a crunch on folks who don't have quite that type of income.
Right. And Townsend doesn't have a huge number of jobs.
Right.
But yeah, so that becomes a problem. I've been a part of some of the community programs in Broadwater County before where they bring together all the nonprofits or all the service agencies. And you would not believe the number of agencies in in Broadwater County alone. They really do a great job of supporting their community. And there are people very, very passionate about supporting the Townsend area through nonprofit work or service clubs or volunteer work, whatever the case may be. Townsend is amazing.
It is. It is. They have tremendous resources. The residents have a real passion for living there and creating community, which is part of why it's so much fun to go down there and do projects.
So what does that look like, the relationship between Broadwater County and Family Promise?
Well, we've kind of partnered with them, and we'll develop resources within the community. We'll use, we received a grant to do our program expansion. It is a grant that needs a match, so we're always looking for donations for this. But we will find folks down there that already exist in the community, and then we will use our resources and train them. And so we want it to be really locally run, and so the community will have huge input in everything that happens with the programming. We need it to fit their culture, their community. Mm-hmm. So we will gather our resources and go into the community and train folks and have staff down there that do what the staff in Helena does, which is try and figure out how we're going to get people under roof.
Right, which is harder and harder every day with the lack of housing.
It is.
So what kinds of opportunities are coming up for people to help with this Family Promise program in Townsend?
We need everything. Anybody who's interested in volunteering, I could keep them busy. So we appreciate folks that are raising their hand and saying, hey, I'd like to do something. We'll do everything from some community outreach to just find the folks that we need to find who are vulnerable. Then we will work with budgeting and try and figure out why they're on that edge of becoming homeless, work with them to teach them maybe some better skills, get them stabilized, and hopefully be successful. So we will train our volunteers or staff that are going to be in the Townsend area how we have done that in Helena, and we'll teach our folks there how to do it, and they'll work with the families that are in the community.
And so that's essentially your eviction prevention program that you run here out of Helena. You're going to take that, move it to Townsend, do the same kind of work.
Same kind of work.
Volunteers or staff eventually. So
right.
Definitely needing support from people.
It's a lot of fun because we do everything from provide food vouchers to gas cards to subsidizing some rent payments. When we locate housing for folks, if they're already homeless, we will help with first month's rent, deposit, that kind of thing to get them safely in shelter. And hopefully we've done a good job of teaching them budgeting skills, and things are successful and we get to move forward.
So given that's in Townsend and there's not the number of resources we have in Helena, is there remote learning opportunities for some of this stuff?
There is. We'll do right now, well, COVID has made life wonderful sometimes.
It has made things better in some ways.
We do our volunteer training. We're capable of doing our volunteer training via Zoom. And we got really good at it during COVID. So now we can just Zoom our Townsend folks in and train them multitudes of skills, and so it's kind of fun.
Or even probably the budgeting classes at some point when families need that kind of thing.
Yes.
They can get that all online.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
We've got a program that we're doing right now that is really kind of cool. It's called Grow with Google, and it is all an online-based learning experience. When you complete it, you get a Google certificate in a number of different areas. Depending upon what your focus and like is. I have a young man who signed up to do the training, and he web design. And he
Nice.
got certified 2 or 3 days ago. It took him about 6 weeks, and will vastly enhance his ability to be employed. Mm-hmm. So we're excited about that kind of fun sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, just helping folks who maybe have marginal skills get better or become certified so that they can increase their employment opportunities.
Awesome. Anything we missed about this new Townsend project, or even the Helena programs, or do you have any events coming up, needs for volunteers?
Oh, we always need
There's
volunteers.
always things.
Always need volunteers. Please call us, sign up. It's a lot of fun. It's a very rewarding organization to volunteer with because you do get to see those tangible results in the end, and that is so exciting. Currently, our shelter here in town, we are full to capacity. We still have a huge wait list. Phone calls come in every day, so it's, I feel like a broken record. I've been saying that for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Someday I'm going to come visit you and be able to say, we got nobody.
That's the
That's
hope,
my
is we work
goal.
ourselves out of a job, right?
Yes, that is my goal. It's fun. It's very rewarding. Volunteers, I think, truly enjoy it.
What kinds of things can volunteers do for you?
Well, we always have need for overnight hosts. Overnight hosts is a huge thing, and it's very important to the families. That's where you get to spend the night in the shelter with the families, and you get to connect with them, and you get to learn about them, and you become friends, and then you get to follow them through the process of being permanently housed, and that's really neat. So you check in, the families check in about 7 o'clock at night, you're done at 7 in the morning, but you get to sleep in a wonderful cot.
Oh,
So it's not for
Luxury
everyone.
cot.
Luxury cot in one of our churches. It's a lot of fun though. It's a giant
it's like indoor
sleepover.
camping.
Yeah, it's a giant sleepover.
Yep.
So
But they're in separate rooms.
Yes.
It's not one
You
big
have your own room.
sleepover. Yeah.
yeah,
And they eat dinner all together.
right now we're
Or is
still
that
doing our
okay,
meals
COVID's
separately.
yeah.
We're still a little COVID touchy about that. So
Okay.
the families are eating dinner at the day center and then they check
Okay.
into the church. Now the last month has been really fun because the families have been staying at Carroll College.
Right.
And we love it when they stay at Carroll College because they get to stay in the dorm rooms and it's very exciting and it's really different. And they have been there for the entire month of June. And so thank you to Carroll College. That is huge for us. Gives my churches a break. Lets them do cleaning. They get to relax a little bit. And at Carroll this year they had students and RAs kind of be our overnight hosts and monitor the families.
Oh, great.
So they're there in case an emergency happens or somebody needs something. Mm-hmm. It's very cool.
Yeah. And I'm sure the kids love that.
They do. Remarkably, we'll have families that will come out of that experience and go, college, huh? That's kind of cool.
It's not as scary as
Maybe
I
I
thought.
should think about college.
Right? Just being present in that environment. Yeah.
And in this year, it's been really interesting because we've got lots of teens in our program right now. And so moreover than the parents, the teens have said, huh, college. and they're starting to actually think about it and they think it would be cool. So that experience of being in those dorm rooms has, at least in 2 of my teenagers, somewhat inspired them.
That's awesome.
That is very cool.
Yeah, that's great. Carroll College
It's
makes that happen. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Anything else to add before we wrap up for the day?
We're busy. Call us. Come visit us. We like people.
Yeah. Any specific donations you need at the moment?
Well, we could always use cash.
Right.
It's we live in a very generous community.
Yes.
Folks are very, very good to us. We just received a fella who brought us a carload of kitchen supplies.
Great.
And so that was wonderful. I've got one of our families will be transitioning into their home in about a week and a half. And so there's huge need again for all those kinds of things that you need when you move
All
into
the furniture,
a house.
all the
and,
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have nothing. And our second family will be transitioning in about 3 weeks. So it seems to happen fast when it happens.
Right.
And then we need everything
Right.
immediately.
I was gonna say sometimes it's laundry soap, sometimes it's a house full of furniture.
Yeah, a house full, yeah.
Yeah.
Day Center always has those traditional cleaning kinds of needs. That's just ongoing. Mm-hmm. So,
Great. And how would people get a hold of you?
They could email me, which is the most efficient way, and that is director@familypromisehelena.org. Also call the office. Check our website. There's contact ways there.
All right. Will you give your website and then we'll wrap up?
We are familypromisehelena.com.
All right. Thank you for coming and sharing your information with us. Thanks for expanding out to Townsend. That's great.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you, Helena, for joining us. We'll see you again next week.